Hey everyone, Robert Edgen here with this week's episode of Text-Free Driving TV. And this week we're going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, teenage drivers. I actually have my own teenage driver at home that I care very much for and want to make sure she stays safe, so I focus a lot on teenage drivers. But in general, everyone focuses more on teenage texting and driving than just texting and driving in general. Now we know that adults are just as guilty at texting and driving as teens are. We've seen videos of adults teaching their kids to drive and texting and driving at the same time. We've seen professional drivers and bus drivers and train drivers crashing into things because they are texting and driving. But in general, teens have far more texting and driving accidents than adults do. Well, why is that? Well, for starters, teens are just not as good at drivers as adults are, simply because they don't have the experience on the road, the time behind the wheel to know what to do and when to do it the way that adult drivers do. Even an adult who is prone to texting and driving knows when to put the phone down because they're in situations that require more attention and more focus on the road, whereas a teenage driver who doesn't have that experience doesn't know that they're getting into that kind of situation. Another reason is because of teens' superior skills at texting. They actually think that they are so good at texting and multitasking, which they are, that will carry over to their driving. If they can text while they're eating and getting ready and doing all of these other things that they're doing, then it just goes to reason that they can text while they're driving as well. That obviously is not true, but that is one of the beliefs that teenagers have. Their superior texting skills will allow them to text and drive safely. Part of that comes from an actual scientific study that shows that brains are not fully formed and developed until the age of 25. Specifically, the part of the brain that deals with risky behavior and making decisions dealing with risky behavior is not fully formed until the age of 25. So teen drivers will get themselves into a lot of risky situations because they just aren't fully developed yet to know that that is a very dangerous situation and texting and driving is a very risky behavior. So we focus on teen drivers to try to educate them about those risks and about those bad habits and those behaviors that are dangerous and that could cause them harm and that could cause injuries to them and to other passengers. That's another reason we focus on teen drivers. Teens are far more likely to have other passengers, specifically more teens, in the car with them, which means that any accident that they have is just going to be that much more devastating because there are many teens' lives that are on the line. So we want to get the right attitudes and the right behaviors instilled into teen drivers so that they can carry them through to the rest of their lives and become very safe text-free drivers as adults as well. So it's obviously very important to focus on teens, keep them safe, teach them the things that they don't know, and get them to stop texting and driving. Well, how do you do that? Well, for starters, make sure you're being a good role model. Don't text and drive while your teenager is in the car. Don't do whatever, but especially when your teenager is in the car. Don't talk on the cell phone. Don't speed. Don't run red lights. Don't do the things that you don't want them to do because they're watching your behaviors, they're learning your habits, and they're going to drive the way that you drive. If you're a speeder, expect them to be a speeder. This is something I've had to work on personally in my life. Having a teenage driver has actually made me a much better driver because I make sure that I focus on setting the right example for her. Also, make sure that your teen driver knows the rules that you expect of them. Sit down with them and go through the rules of not texting and driving or drinking and driving and all of the other things that you expect, and then have them commit and sign a pledge to following those rules. If they break the rules, then you need to put the discipline on them fast and furious so that they know to never do it again because they're getting themselves into a very dangerous situation. You can actually get a lot more tips and actually download the top 7 ways to stop your teen from texting and driving and the Text-Free Driving Pledge in our most recent blog. Just go to textinganddrivingsafety.com and click on the Don't Text and Drive blog, and you'll see the opportunity there to download the free report and download the pledge. So that's it for this week. Thanks for joining me to talk about teen drivers and keeping your teen text-free behind the wheel. Before I go, I actually put together a little compilation of some pretty good examples of teens driving and behaving badly. I thought it fit pretty well with today's webisode. So until next week, be safe, drive safe, and thanks for being a text-free driver.
Oh,